Welcome to Glorious IAS Academy. In this video lecture, we will going to talk about the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. What do you mean by the basic structure of the Indian Constitution? And how it is evolved over a period of time from 1973 to 2024? And what are the elements of the basic structure that are inserted through the Supreme Court judgment time to time? So first of all, we need to talk about what is the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. And basic structure of the Indian Constitution means it is a tool, it is a instrument for the various Supreme Courts and High Courts to check the legality of the legislatures as well as the executive actions taken by the central government as well as the state governments. Simply put, by using the basic structure of the Constitution, the court will decide the legality or the constitutionality of the executive as well as the legislative actions in India. So it evolved over a period of time. First of all, the Keshavananda Bharati case in 1973, the first time brought the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. It had told that Parliament can amend anything until unless it should not affect the basic structure of the Constitution. Parliament can take away any provision of the or any amendment of the any provision of the Indian Constitution as long as it does not affect the basic structure of the Constitution. So that is the main purpose of the basic structure of the Constitution. The Supreme Court as well as the High Court from time to time, they have laid down some of the basic principles, those included in the basic structure of the Constitution. So the Parliament as well as the state legislatures can enact any type of the law, but it should not affect those principles which are laid down in the basic structure of the Constitution. So what do you mean by it does not mention the or define the Indian Constitution? Original Constitution does not mention the basic structure of the Constitution. It purely inserted by the Keshavananda Bharati, from the Keshavananda Bharati case to till now by the Supreme Court judgments. So it is a form of judicial review. By using it, test the legality of any legislations by the court, whether they are constitutional or unconstitutional. If it is affect the basic structure of the Constitution, the courts will declare those legislation null and void. Next one, it widely regarded as a check on majoritarian impulse of the Parliament. So the Parliament can legislate upon any constitutional provision. If it is go against the Indian Constitution, if it is go against the basic structure of the Constitution, so it will declare the unconstitutional by the court. That means it check on the majoritarian impulse, means the unilateral decision taken by the Parliament should not affect the majoritarian decision taken by the Parliament should not affect the basic structure of the Constitution. So the Parliament will not supreme, and until and unless it will go according to it will rule according to the Indian Constitution, it is supreme. But if it is violate the Indian Constitution or the basic principles that are laid in the basic structure, and it will declare null and void. So that is the main meaning of the check on majoritarian impulse of the Parliament. Next one, the basic structure will places substantive limits on the power of the amendment of the Constitution. The Constitution means Parliament can amend anything in the Constitution, but it does not affect the basic structure of the Constitution. So first, Keshavananda Bharati case versus the state of Kerala, 1973. The first time the basic structure evolved by the Supreme Court by interpreting the constitutional provisions. So there were 13-member bench was there, and under this verdict, so 7-6 verdict will be there. Means 7 members are supported this basic structure and 6 members against the basic structure of the Constitution. So majority of the judges in the 13-member judge bench given and evolved the basic structure of the Constitution first time in India. So it is originally not mentioned in the Constitution. It evolved by the Supreme Court time to time. So evolution of the basic structure, how it is evolved over a period of time. That is the second topic. Means the evolution of the basic structure doctrine can be traced to the issue of the right to property and the constitutional Amendment Act 1951. So immediately after the commencement of the constitution, the government, central government brought some of the land reforms. What is the abolition of the intermediaries in the agriculture sectors and land ceiling act, tenant act. By this kind of the land reforms, the government has taken away the hundreds of acres from the local landlords and they were distributed among the all sections of the people. So the government, in order to implement the DPSP of the 13 of A, means Directive Principle of Policy, Article 13, that means the concentration of the wealth in few hands, reducing the concentration of the wealth in few hands, and reducing the income inequalities, and a distribution of the economic wealth equitably among all sections of the people. So in order to implement this kind of the DPSP principles, the government brought the land reforms. But some of the landlords, they have not accepted the government decision. They went to Supreme Court. They challenged the government measures or land reforms in the Supreme Court. Subsequently, Supreme Court given the some lot of judgments regarding to these land reforms. So in that process, the Supreme Court evaluated the basic structure of the Constitution in 1973 first time. So against the government measures, in order to challenge those decisions of the government in the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court given the some of the judgments. Against those judgments, government would come up the some other measures. So like that, in series of evolution, the Supreme Court evaluated the basic structure. So here the important events, what are those important events for the evaluation of the basic structure of the doctrine? First one, the land reforms after the independence. Next one, the state of Bihar and Kalmeshwar Singh 1950 case, and the first amendment brought in 1951 to implement the land reforms. Next one, the Shankari Prasad Singh Dio versus Union of India and State of Bihar case. So like that, 7th amendment, Golaknath case, 24th Constitutional Amendment Act, Keshavananda Bharati case, it is a start. It is where the basic structure of the Constitution, basic structure, what we are talking about in this class, is evolved by this event basic. So previous these events are the precedent to this event, means these all events led to the judgment of the Keshavananda Bharati case. Next one, 13th Constitutional Amendment Act, India Nehru Singh case, 42nd Mineral Mill case and Vaman Rao case. Because of all these cases, the Supreme Court evaluated the basic structure of the Constitution time to time. And what are the elements that are inserted in the basic structure of the Constitution? And there are various cases under which the Supreme Court had come up with a lot of principles that are included in the basic structure. Whatever the basic structure of the Constitution, whatever the principle included in this basic structure of the Constitution, that principle should not violate by the amendment of the Constitution. If any action or any legislation taken by the government of India or the state governments, if they affect these following principles, and those actions or those legislations would declare unconstitutional. So that is the importance given to these elements by the Supreme Court. First one, there are 22 cases under which these basic elements of the basic structures are included. First case is Keshavananda Bharati case in 1973. What are the principles laid down? First one, supremacy of the Constitution, and any actions taken by the government of India or the state government should not affect the supremacy of the Constitution. Next one, the separation of the power should not be affected, and republican democratic form of the government, this is one of the principle, and secularism and federal character and sovereignty and unity of India, freedom and dignity of individual, and manner to build a welfare state, and next one, the parliamentary system. So these are the principles included in the first case by the Supreme Court. And second case is Indira Nehru case 1975. Indira Nehru case, Indira Gandhi challenged is nullifying her elections in the 1975. So popularly known as election case. Allahabad High Court in 1975 declared the Indira Gandhi election is unconstitutional, null and void. So subsequently Indira Gandhi imposed the emergency. During those times, this case was we can trace this case to those emergency situations. Next one, under this case, Supreme Court laid down India as a sovereign democratic republic, and equality of status and equal opportunity of the individual, secularism, government of laws and not of man, means that means rule of law. Rule of law is first time included in the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. Next one, judicial review, free and fair elections, limited. Third one is the mineral milk case in 1980, under which the Supreme Court included limited power of Parliament to amend the Constitution, judicial review, and harmony and balance between the fundamental rights and directive principle of state policy. And another few cases under which lot of elements were included under the basic structure of the Constitution. And fourth one, Central Coalfield Limited case, effective access to the justice. This is the element included under the basic structure of the Constitution. Under Bhim Singh Ji case, welfare state was included. Sampath Kumar case, rule of law and judicial review is included. Under Sambamurthy case 1987, rule of law, judicial review included. Delhi Judicial Service Association case, powers of Supreme Court under Article 32, 136, 141 and 142 were included. Next one, Indira Sahani case, popularly known as Mandal case, and rule of law was included. Next one, the Singh Kumar Padma Prasad case 1992. In this case, independence of judiciary included, and some other cases like S.R. Bommai case, Raghunath Rao case, and fair elections, principle of equality, federalism and secularism and democracy, these principles were included. So like that, under various 22 various cases, lot of principles were included under the basic structure of the Constitution. Chandra Kumar case, powers of High Court under the Article 226, 227. Indira Sahani case, principles of equality included. All India Judges Association case 2002, independence of judiciary is also part of the basic structure of the Constitution. And Kuldeep Nair case, democracy, free and fair elections were included. And like that, in various cases, principles of equality, rule of law, separation of powers and judicial review, powers of Supreme Court under the Article 32, and freedom and dignity of the individual, and powers of high courts under the Article 22, 226 and 227. So these are the various principles that were included under the basic structure of the Constitution. And what is the criticism of the basic structure of the Constitution? Number one, no basis for doctrine in the language of the, so original Constitution does not mention the basic structure of the Constitution. It was evolved by the Supreme Court of India. Unsuitable and even destructive to the constitutional legitimacy. Why? Because the Constitution was adopted by the people of India through the Constituent Assembly. Various political scientists or various political experts and leaders, those who are on behalf of the people, they have evolved the Indian Constitution, they have framed the Indian Constitution. But Supreme Court, through the various judgments, it was changed a lot of provisions of the Constitution through the constitutional interpretation, and sometimes it hijacked the legislature as well as the executive, and it is also it's disturbed the separation of powers between the executive, judiciary as well as the legislature. So these are some of the points of criticism offered by the various political experts. So it is unsuitable and even destructive for the constitutional legitimacy. So Constitution given equal powers to all three organs of the government, but Supreme Court is overriding the other two organs. It is inconsistent with the concept of separation of power. Next one, it is the matter of subjectivity, means the Supreme Court had come up with the various judgments under which various principles are included in under the basic structure of the Constitution, and how it is evolved these principles, and lot of subjectivities are there, means the judges, while giving the judgment, they are infusing their own personal opinions in that judgments. So it is lot of subjectivity, it is going through lot of subjectivity. So that is one of the criticism against the basic structure of the Constitution. So they are influenced by the personal preferences of the judges, and who then acquire the power to amend the Constitution. Means It makes the judiciary the third decisive chamber of the parliament. Usually the legislature, usually acts will be enacted by the parliament, means the legislatures, the main duty of the parliament is to legislate. But rather than the parliament, the Supreme Court is giving the lot of judgment through which they are legislating. Means indirectly the Supreme Court is become the another powerful chamber of the parliament. Normally the parliament will have two chambers, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Through these two chambers, it will come up with the legislations. But indirectly the parliament, the Supreme Court had become another chamber of the parliament. So this is one of the criticism offered by the various persons, imposing the judiciary philosophy on a government that is formed democratically. So the parliament would form through the elections that are conducted by the Elections Commission of India. Means it is electing democratically, but Supreme Court will not elect through the elections. So by Supreme Court judgment, indirectly it is affecting the democracy. Means it is hijacking the parliament. Next one, there is a deadlock of definite explanation as to what constitutes the basic structure. So there is vague, means what is exactly the basic structure. It is evolving time to time. So that is so there is a confusion among the basic structure of the constitution. What is the definitive structure? What is exactly mean? Nobody knows. Next, thereby leaving a doctrine ambiguous means no clarity, ambiguous. So these are the means Raju Ramchandran is said that anti-democratic and counter-majoritarian. So the parliament would elect by the majoritarian politics. So it is the basic structure is against the majoritarian politics, democracy, and it is hijacking the parliament. It is against the separation of powers. So this is the criticism. It is very, very useful during the mains examination for the UPSC as well as the group 1 mains examination. So you need to analyze what are the advantages of the supreme basic structure of the constitution. You need to analyze what are the disadvantages of the basic structure of the constitution, what is the criticism of the basic structure of the constitution. You need to form a balanced opinion regarding any topic in the mains examination. Neither your opinion go against it, nor your opinion go for it. So you should explain the both principles, both advantages and disadvantages, pros and cons of every issue in order to form a balanced opinion. So then only you will secure a good number of marks in the mains examination. So with this, we are ending this class. So in this video, we have discussed about what is the basic structure of the Indian Constitution, what are the important events through which the basic structure of the Constitution evolved, and what are the different kind of elements that are included under the basic structure of the Constitution in 22 different judgments given by the Supreme Court. Thank you very much.